Every country in the world has three unique iconic symbols that identify it as a nation. The national anthem, which is sung or played on important national occasions. The national flag, which is made very visible whenever the entire nation is in celebratory mood. And the national coat of arms. The first two, the national flag and national anthem, are emotional items which imbue everyone with a high sense of patriotism. The third icon, the national coat of arms, is however an emblem that represents serious national business. The National Coat of Arms is such an important national symbol that it can be found emblazoned on all official national documents such as the Ghanaian passport, the driver's license, official government letterheads and documents, official government publications, the national currencies, and on both military and police uniforms. It can also be seen adorning all government places such as the castle, which is the official seat of government, the Supreme Court, the Parliament House, all government offices, and all Ghana's diplomatic missions abroad. It is also displayed during important national functions. Indeed, the coat of arms is the one symbol that authenticates and endorses all documents that have official government sanction. It is a work of art that is unique in every respect, the handiwork, obviously, of a master artist. As Independence Day drew closer, the need for national identity icons, distinct from those of the imperial power Great Britain, became urgent. The challenge for the design of a national flag and the composition of a national anthem were thrown to the general public through newspaper and radio announcements. With the National Coat of Arms, however, the colonial masters at that time had one particular individual in mind, a budding young artist whose spectacular creativity was fast becoming proverbial. That artist, whose creative genius brought this all-important national symbol into being, is Mr. Amon Kotei, a native of La in Accra. Back then, Amon Kotei was a 41-year-old vivacious and energetic man. Today, having lived a full life plus a grace of 100 years and more, he is 96 years old and still kicking. Kotei was in public employment at the time, working with the government printer in Accra.
Now, when they came to design the coat of arms, they recommended me from Britain that let Kotei design the Ghana coat of arms. Don't throw this coat of arms to all. Give it to Kotei. So I had a peculiar order. In our school days, we had a professor called Kwejuri Agri. In his talks to us, one day said, Ghanaians are eagles. They must aim high. And being one of the students, receiving this inspiration from Kwejuri Agri. And so I suggested to the cabinet, why don't we use Agri's eagle? And the cabinet gave me the go-ahead. And so I did design my coat of arms with Agri's eagle.
He set to work immediately, spending the first few days to meditate on the assignment. And after a few months of research and creative work, he got the first draft design ready for presentation to his employers. The Ghana coat of arms is composed of a shield divided into 4 quarters by a green St. George's cross rimmed with gold. At the top left-hand quarter, cross-linguist staff and ceremonial sword on a blue background that represents local administration. At the top right-hand quarter, a heraldic castle on a heraldic sea with a light blue background that represents national government. At the top left-hand quarter, a cocoa tree representing the agricultural wealth of the country. At the bottom right quarter, a mine shaft that represents the mineral wealth of the country. At the center of the St. George's Cross, a gold lion that represents the continued link between Ghana and the Commonwealth. At the top of the shield, a 5-pointed black star rimmed with gold and standing on a wreath of red, gold and green colors that represents the lodestar of African freedom. Supporting the shield on both sides are two very attentive eagles, each with a black star medal suspended around its neck on a ribbon bearing the national colors of red, gold and green. The two eagles signify protectors with strength that keep constant watch over the country. Inscribed under the shield is the motto, freedom and justice.
Everything that is being done in Ghana here for Britain to give us independence have to be approved from Britain. So my coat of arms also went for approval, England.
Naval Captain Everai was a man detailed from Britain to oversee all the arrangements in the Gold Coast towards the granting of independence to the first European colony south of the Sahara. One Sunday afternoon, Naval Captain Everai called Amon Kotei from the castle and asked about the progress of work on the coat of arms. Kotei told him the first draft design was ready. Naval Captain Everai immediately rushed down to the government printing house and picked up the design. He took only one look at it, smiled, tucked it firmly under his arm, shook Kotei's hand and walked away. Everai flew immediately to Britain with the design and showed it to Her Majesty the Queen for appraisal. The design was given to the Queen's Special College of Art Experts and Advisors in London for routine assessment. Save a few modifications like the insertion of the lion at the center of the St. George's Cross, which was incorporated upon consultation with the Queen, Amon Kotei's design was approved in whole. The design was returned to the Gold Coast with almost adulatory remarks from the experts at the Queen's College, saying amongst others that of all the designs they had had to assess from other countries, the design from the Gold Coast was almost perfect. When the design got back to the Gold Coast, Dr. Nkrumah registered his protest immediately. He was completely put off by the incorporation of the lion, a notable British insignia in the design.
The lion that the British artists had added to the coat of arms, Nkrumah shouted, "Take it out! We don't more want to be colonial. Take it out!" And I immediately took the lion out.
The design, minus the lion, went back to the castle, but hardly had Kotei had time to dry his brushes than the design was returned to him with an even firmer instruction from Nkrumah.
Put the lion back. And I said, "Yes, sir." And I put the lion back.
Why Nkrumah had to do such a dramatic U-turn almost immediately still remains a mystery to Kotei to this day.
The speed with the lion came back and asked me to put it there. I could only imagine that Britain was saying, without the lion, no independence. I imagine. Nobody told me.
Amon Kotei was born on 24th of May 1915 at La in the Greater Accra region. His father was called S.K. Hammond, popularly known in Labadi as Amon Tete. Kotei started formal education at Dodowa, but had to change school very often due to the frequent transfer of his grandfather, David Kotei, a teacher and a catechist with whom he lived during his formative years. He ultimately completed his elementary education at the La Presbyterian Middle Boys Boarding School, La Salem, in the year 1934. In his early adolescent years, Kotei had noticed that he had a very strong fascination for works of art in general. He was particularly delighted by drawing, painting and clay modeling. Then, through the efforts of his father and others, he got a government scholarship to study art at the Ashmolean College, known at the time as the Prince of Wales College. He enrolled in a special art school in the college under one European called Mr. Merowitz, who was a first-class sculptor. But things did not turn up at the school as Kotei had expected. He wanted to be a sculptor. That was his chief ambition at the time. His clay models were exceptional and exciting. Unfortunately, his interest in sculpting was terribly thwarted by Mr. Merowitz.
I was not pleased with the course because I said I want to be an artist. Generally, not continue to do aquaba and all those things called African art.
He believed that as an artist, he must be free to express his talent in a manner that the divine inspiration came to him. Mr. Merowitz took this courageous stance by the young artist as an affront. He would often come and stand over Kotei's shoulder as he worked and would keep repeating the words, "Horrible, horrible." Kotei saw trouble looming large ahead of him, but he was least deterred.
And so my scholarship to Achimota was withdrawn, and I was happy I had to be kicked from Achimota because I want to be free.
He consoled himself with the fact that he had come out with his pride and his vision intact. He was an artist with a God-given talent that no man, machine or magic could take away from him. To assert his artistic and financial independence, Kotei turned his attention to the armed forces, which at that time held much promise for his talents. On the 6th of March 1942, he enlisted into the West African Frontier Force. The 6th of March, what a date! That same date, 15 years later, was destined to be the date for Ghana's political independence. Was this man's destiny tied to that of Ghana's in a way? Because of his artistic background, he was taken into the Frontier Force as a cartographic draftsman. His rank was corporal, first class. His unit was 36 Field Survey. Corporal Amon Kotei was in the armed forces for 5 years. His work in the army so stood out that after the war, he was transferred to the government printing department, where he was given a job of book and poster designing, illustration of books, postage stamp designing and other such artistic assignments. 6 months later, he was sent to Britain to train as a professional artist at the London School of Printing and Graphic Arts at Bolt Court near Fleet Street. Kotei got married to Sarah Adole Ado of the Abafum clan of La, and they had their first child, Nii in the year 1940.
Once upon a time, a boy and a girl who carried my notebooks from my house to the school every morning brought a smaller boy. I liked that boy. Automatically, I announced that if you ever have a sister, that sister of yours is my wife. This sounds like a prophetic announcement. It happened that I happened to see that sister of his, and that is my wife. Then and now, and she has brought forth all my children. Ask me how many children? 12 children came out of that woman who I pronounced was my wife. God is great.
And quite funny. The baby share nothing no happen. The small bee. Draw him in and what a feel. That when it touched me, she back at me, that way a war. And I mean that way be at this school. Moko Bene put at this school. What are the back boy? Bomber. Where be a trade saying, well, him.
Today, Kotei looks back with the greatest of pride and enjoys the fact that his children have all become notable personalities in their various fields of endeavor, serving their nation and the world in distinguished positions around the globe.
My father, as I know him, I remember a father who really, really loved us. Me particularly, I remember because I was the only girl among 6 children at the time. And whenever he came from work, he would look for me first. That much I remember. And he would play with us, he would teach us. Prior to going to school, we could almost read and write because my father made sure that he taught us himself.
I work at the Library of Congress in Washington, D.C. I just came to see my father, I've been seeing him for a while. And sometimes when I call here to speak to him, he don't seem to remember Johnny. I say, oh Lord, Senna, the man that became me Senna. I better run home. 4th release his birthday, so combine it all.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear father. Happy birthday to you.
Congratulations.
Basically, I would say I'm the only one who has taken it up a little further to semi, I would say, a professional level. I do have art shows in the U.S. I do sell my paintings in the U.S. I do have workshops and stuff in the U.S. I'm one of the members of a group of artists in the Palm Beach area. And we do have art shows, at one of these museums up in the place called Delray Beach. Most times before he wakes up in the morning, I've already done a lot of work. And he come and check it out and give me a few pointers. And sometimes we work together. We work hand in hand. But it's a wonderful feeling. Who else will be the best teacher than your own father?
When I was a young guy, I knew that my father had been designing postage stamps. I knew he had been designing a lot of crests for various schools. For example, Labondi Secondary School, the crest, I know that he designed it. I knew that my father had been illustrating some books. The Ghana Telecom, their old directory, most of his illustrations were in it. Then I also knew that he was the designer of the coat of arms for Ghana. And that really was the peak of my happiness of what he has done all these years.
Papa I believe on profession. Was one more fair one here one in Nanuchumo, or fair one here one in Nanuchuma. I get profession, Momokoye, I hear your day. Only I have 10 million. She call your profession if I know by or by no chuni. You want to have policy, what will hear me why?
My father was commissioned to act as a Ghana art ambassador to carry Ghanaian artists' visions to different parts of the world, including Romania, Bulgaria, Hungary, America, and there are several pieces of artworks in several galleries around the world representing my father's paintings. Also, most of the Ghanaian high commissions and embassies in the world do have my father's paintings to represent the art of Ghana.
He's always home, painting. When he's down, you don't see him painting. The moment he says, where is my overall, which means he's back to himself. He taught us a lot of good things. When I was growing up, I don't remember us having a piano, but there's always a guitar, which he plays after painting. That is what keeps it going.
It was for me he died long ago.
So not only does he, write music and and promote music, he kind of teaches music, and his music might not be something you hear on the radio, but he can show you people that he has inspired into music who are doing fantastic out there. One of my nephews, who is in England right now, plays the piano or the organ fantastically, in London, play for churches, and it's all because of my father's influence.
support is there, the love is there. It's stern love, you know. And he says something, quote from the Bible. Bulu femo petegbeke chi. Tose mochole
yes.
Flow. Yeah. Spare the rod, spoil the child. Yeah, these are the principles. So, I mean, no matter how much he loves you, no matter how much great father he is, the rod he will never spare.
Always put you in the
right place, and you have to go for it.
Growing up with my parents, my dad calls our house in the United States of America because we have so many cousins, friends, or even people that are not related to us live in this house with us, and he is able to go to everybody's level. We have the respect that he is the father, but we also have that kind of free relationship with him, and that is really good.
I'm the last born of 12 of Mr. Amon Kotei and Sarah Doliado. I normally come home once a year to come and see the folks, and I choose always May because it's their birthdays. And I just had a little girl, so I decided to come home to come and show my parents their new grandchild.
We are many. He takes care of all of us, not only his own, but he takes care of others as well, the extended family. Anybody walks in with your problem and he will help you out. And he does it to a fault.
Kotei, a pay school, Antisim Memorial School, that you were teaching. It's on 1 year school. Minkele pen where a shampoo. No Nicasimo can be pen, a joy de ham, a chomini. Because you what they were here sang.
Away from my home, my home. Oh, be
Inasmuch as he treats landscapes and other themes, his favorite subject matter has been women. Indeed, the bulk of his paintings is a celebration of the strong African female form and character. His admiration for women stems from his belief that Ghanaian women, and by extension African women, are pace setters in economic emancipation, always engaged in contributing to the economy of the country and of the home, and still finding time to cook and take care of the family.
This is one of my grandpa's paintings, which he did in 2004, which I really like. It's one of my favorite ones, and I'm quite glad that I can paint as well and I draw. And my teachers say that I have an eye for fine detail and drawing. And Karen, too, my sister, she is on the verge of being an artist as well because she likes colour and drawing and colouring.
I like colouring in lots of pictures because it keeps me busy, and so I'm not doing nothing.
I want to take art very seriously. I want to take it to A-level. Next year I'll be going to sixth form and I'll be taking art A-level for, I want to do architecture in university or do graphic design. I'm not sure which one I'm going to take yet.
On my way to Ghana this trip, I have to go to the Ghana High Commission in London. So I was just standing there and the crest was there, and I just said to one guy, "Do you know who designed this?" And the person said, "One Amon Kotei." I said, "That's my father." And I'll continue to say it. I'm really, really happy.
Anytime I get a chance to tell people who did the coat of arms, I do. Like today, for instance, I was in the Ministry of Interior, to get some forms. And every form they have has the coat of arms on it. And there's a coat of arms on the wall. I told the guy, "Hey, do you know who did this?" It's my father who did it, out of the blue. Of course, they charged me for the forms I collected, but still, give me a sense of pride that it's my father, Mr. Amon Kotei, who designed the Ghana coat of arms.
Just this Saturday, a lady came from London to come to visit me, and she went up to see my dad, and it's like, "So it's him, so it's him," and it really makes me feel proud that I belong to somebody who is prominent.
It's very unfortunate that most people don't know.
Yes.
Seriously.
They
most
never
really
highlighted
don't
it. No.
That this was designed by a Ghanaian who is still alive.
For all his efforts and contributions to the cultural development of his motherland, Amon Kotei has received a few honors from the state and from other quarters. In March 1997, on the eve of Ghana's 40th independence anniversary, Amon Kotei received the Grand Medal, Civil Division, from the then President of the country, Flight Lieutenant Jerry John Rawlings. Part of the citation reads, "In recognition of the profound creativity you exhibited, coupled with outstanding artistic excellence in producing a design which expresses in totality the complex diversities of the concept of linkage, the aspirations of a newly emergent independent nation state, its political past and future, its natural resources, and the assemblage of symbolic emblems of its indigenous traditions, also manifestly embedded in the Ghana Coat of Arms." In September 2003, the National Theatre of Ghana started the Living Legend series, a program whose chief objective was to honor and acknowledge the works of distinguished Ghanaians who had made immense contributions towards the development of the arts in Ghana. The first two living legends to be honored were Mr. Saka Akwe and Mr. Amon Kotei, both of them painters and sculptors whose works over the years have received critical acclaim both at home and internationally. Amon Kotei is held in high esteem in his native town of La. On the 28th of February 2007, he received a special award from the chief and people of the La traditional area on the occasion of the 59th anniversary of the death of another citizen of La, Sergeant Ajete, the famous Gold Coast martyr.
Today, we salute all our heroes, the living and the dead. But one living hero stands tall above all else. Nii Amon Kotei, who designed Ghana's coat of arms, which represents the spirit and authority of the nation Ghana. Nii Amon Kotei, Ghana is proud of you.
Maybe you know, bote ni bia mi anwe aba na ke egwe ni amo ochiri o aka na fe wo ha ba ego.
Again, on the 18th of December 2010, the La Traditional Council gave him another honor at the Nativity Presbyterian Church at La. Amon Kotei has indeed paid his dues, both to his motherland and to his family. He is counted with the greats amongst Ghanaian and indeed contemporary African artists. His legacy as a master painter, carver, sculptor, musician, model father and dedicated patriot covers 3/4 of a century. His contribution to the arts has become one of the cornerstones of the country's artistic excellence and has helped in no small measure to preserve the cultural heritage of the people. His one great prayer of gratitude to God is having given him the opportunity, amongst all Ghanaians, past, present and future, to design the famous coat of arms which will forever be a permanent feature of the unique identity of his motherland, Ghana.
Manunu, Manunu, oh, me, oh, me, oh, Father.